Hi, this is Diane, and it's a good thing I came back here. This is take 2 of my sit down with a glass of wine and chat and bring you up to date vlog. And I had a notification come up after I was like minutes in, probably 10 minutes in, and I hit it. It took me to another page, and then I got back to finally the camera app, and it looked like it was still recording, but it wasn't, so that would have been a real heartbreaker. But anyway, Diane, Lucky Gardenia, Fort Worth area, and I am coming to you not from my car. Elvis is somewhere in the building, I imagine. This is Glory B, and my house since September, mid-September, and it's 95 years old, and I have done some reading up on the house and the neighborhood, and the more I learn about it, the more I just feel very blessed to be here. And you know, the winter, a lot of, when I came, the owner, Linda, was a master gardener and gorgeous gardens and landscaping. So I don't know what's going to survive the winter, and what I'm going to have to probably get some help in here to replant some things, but I am starting to see some greenery start to pop up, and it just makes your day brighter when you see just not a lot of dead plants everywhere, but no, leaves on the trees, just very gloomy. But sorry guys, I've been gone since I did that quick little minute video with my daughters when we got together a couple days after Christmas, and I had every intention of, kind of keeping up my schedule of, when I got my haircut diaries. And when I got my haircut, I just wasn't in a place where I felt like I wanted to do a video. And anyone that's not done one of these, you have to be in a place of being open. And sometimes, there are times when you're just not, you're not in a place where you're in that mode, and I kind of withdraw. And so anyway, I'm back. I realized I started to lose some subscribers because it had been so long, and it's not that I live an exciting life to share, but I do kind of do this as a documentary that maybe my kids can, or my granddaughter can access after I'm gone or older or whatever. But I have shared a lot of family history and fun stories and just what's going on in life. And I kind of documented my life through COVID, so that's going to be interesting. But it's been quite a while, so thank you if you're here watching. I thoroughly appreciate it. I thoroughly appreciate anyone that likes my videos or that watches them and subscribes or gets a friend to subscribe. It just makes my day. And so I really want to say thank you. I'm not quite up to 100 videos, and I started this, I think, in the spring of 2017. So anyway, since I'm restarting, I got to think of what I was sharing with you. Hopefully I will upload some of the ukulele attempts that I had of sharing some of the 3 songs that are my go-to songs. I have jotted down some notes. I don't know how much I'm going to get through. I'm kind of even starting to lose my voice, but and I'm just, in case I don't upload the ukulele videos, I'm just out of the shower, and this is kind of what you're going to get tonight. Anyway, big ticket items. Signed back up for Weight Watchers. They reduced the price. to a price I couldn't resist. And I went and watched the reviews on YouTube to see what the program was. The one thing that I don't like, I do love the app that you have, and the virtual meetings are worth the monthly cost alone. And when you sign up, you go through and it asks you various questions, and it gives you, based on your age, height, weight, and gender, it assigns you how many daily points you get. And you can still gain points by activities, but it just didn't give me enough points. And before, you could go in to your account and you could adjust it up or down. That feature is no longer there. So after doing it for a couple weeks, I think I've lost 5 pounds. I just wanted to start eating better, to be honest. To lose 10, 20, 25 pounds, yeah, I'll take it. But it was like, this is not making me happy. They do have some 0-point foods, which are vegetables, which are not really my go-to thing. Some, like chicken or fish or non-fat yogurt, non-fat cottage cheese, that kind of thing. But it just, before, when Weight Watchers was a plan that people went to, it was like, you always feel full. And I just really was feeling like I was being deprived, even though I was eating more than what I had been. But, and that's one of the reasons I had gotten to be where I was just eating very little. And I didn't want to go that route. I want to eat healthy and attend the meetings, and I'll probably just track it on my own paper. I got, you got to find out what works for you. And I'm actually okay with the weight I am for my age. I'm about to turn 64. And so I'm trying to be a little bit more accepting of, I'm just grateful that my body allows me to do most of the things I like. I do have arthritis, so I'm limited on some things now, but I'm just happy to be here, even on the not so easy days. I wrote down some notes, guys, believe it or not. And I don't know if I said Elvis is in the building, but he probably is. Okay. Because I'm losing my voice, I'm probably going to adjust what I talk about. But I have sitting here 2 things that I wanted to share. I talked about the temperature blanket. And that is where you can record. There's many ways to do this, but I'm doing where you record the high for your locale, which mine is Fort Worth. And on the Weather Underground, they actually have an Oakhurst station. Not historically, but you can get current. And the mistake I made, and I'll share this in case any of you are crocheters. It's mostly crochet. I don't know if anybody knits doing this, but for one, I don't know how many times I tried. I was doing the easiest stitch wrong. So after many attempts, I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. And then the big mistake I made, I had ordered this yarn, and it's premium acrylic. It's soft. Thought I'd gotten a variety of colors, but it just didn't have the full range. And with Texas, you want probably to break down you bracket, like this could be temperatures 60 to 69. And you do a row for that high of that day. So you have 365 rows eventually. So it's going to be a really long blanket, but it it is a representation of your area's temperature for that year. And ended up, I made a couple of mistakes, I'll just be honest. This is, I think, a 4-weight, a DK weight, and I had ordered this in pastels, and it's a much thinner weight. And I'll show you, I've got this wine, I don't want to spill it. This is with the 4. This is just, I think, less than 10 days worth. I don't know if you can see it. I'm doing this one-handed. And why I stopped on this size, this is my preferred size, is because I ended up adding multiple additional colors from yarns made by Walmart, by Red Heart, by it's called the Big Twist at Joann's, Canon, or I'm probably saying that wrong. Well, come to find out, I was using the Red Heart, and when I got to, it was a really pretty color. It was kind of a yellow with a green little tint to it, but it was so rough. And this is, you know, I really like working with wool, but a wool blanket this large would really be heavy and costly. And since I'm just, you know, trying to figure out what I'm doing, it's a good thing I went with acrylic, but I realized I don't want to spend a year of my life making something that I think I'm going to keep around and hate half the yarns in there because the quality is so, let's just call it like it is, crappy. So I stopped on this. I went back to the website, found additional colors to, I ended up making these little temperature. There's actually 2 different. This is for the thinner one. And it's going to be pastels, and you can see how much smaller this thing is. And this is probably about 6 days worth. But ultimately, probably in because you get to choose how wide you want it. With the length, it's probably going to end up about right, where this is going to be really, really long. But one reason why I opted to do it is that it does kind of put you into a meditative state when you're doing it. Once you realize what you're doing and get the stitch right. So the additional yarn should be here, I think, by Monday. And I'm going to have to rearrange my assigned yarns. And some of these actually may end up being wrong, but after you've redone it like 4 times, I'm just not going to do that. I can live with maybe a couple of days being not quite so accurate. So that's what it's looking like so far. And I didn't bring in that color chart because it's going to change a lot when I get the additional yarn. And then the other thing I was going to share, I ordered this little cookbook. You know, on Amazon you can get them used. It's Tex-Mex, and it really, I'm going to put down this wine. Because I want to thumb through this. It's got so much historical information, pictures of key restaurants in Texas. It talks about the whole, category of Tex-Mex and how to make tortillas and about chilies and just all the players in, the restaurants around the whole state. And they even have El Phoenix enchiladas recipe. And I just love all the historical documentation in this. And I just thought it was going to be a kind of a cheesy little book with a couple of good recipes in it. But this is, I really am going to enjoy reading this. And why I say that is because I pulled out the Oakhurst neighborhood little book that they have for sale here locally. And the author, bless her heart, documented the history of this, I call it a historical neighborhood. that was built in the 20s, started in the 20s. And my street is block number 14. And I think they had over 25 and maybe more eventually. And I was noticing after I read through the book, come to find out the little girl, W.E. Sharp and his wife Ruby were newlyweds when they bought this new house. And it was in 1928. And the selling points were is that they had gravel. They weren't dirt roads. There was gravel, and that they had gas and lighting and telephones and big backyards, and it had to be a set back from the street enough. He had Mr. King, who actually owned a candy company, King Candy, and they put out, I guess, American Beauty chocolates. And this was his idea. And so anyway, one of the key contributors with stories and pictures was Beverly, the daughter, who was born probably in 1930, maybe. So I got to find out about some things that were going on in my house. So how cool is that? They did have a picture of it when it was built initially, and it was, the selling point is the lots were so big that it was kind of suburbia but country. So you had a big enough yard back in the 20s where you could have a garden and chickens. They had chickens. And Ruby sold eggs for 9 cents a dozen. And one of the stories in there was when Billy was born, his name was William, he was named after his dad. When W.E. took Ruby to the hospital, Harris Hospital, you had to pay $100. So he came back to Glory Bee House and got Ruby's egg money and had enough to have the $100. And you got to imagine that was in 1934, I think he was. So right, depression. And I figured out he was 25 years old. I don't know how old Ruby was, but I actually found his headstone online, and come to find out he's in the Mount Olive Cemetery that is just probably 4 blocks away from here. He and his wife, and I think even his son. Come to find out they had a picture of him. W.E. became a deputy chief of the fire department, and there's a little phone nook. Part of the perks of that job is he got a big vehicle that it was a big white fire department vehicle, and had a telephone paid for in the house. And Beverly said that they would get calls in the middle of the night for 2-alarm fires. So you could bet things were hopping around here. And one of the best stories, the neighbors to my west, that during Prohibition, that it was known that there were some bootleggers in the neighborhood, and W.E. and I suppose Ruby just knew it was, at least one of them was the neighbors, because the driveway for that house goes right by the kitchen window, and they had high traffic where the cars would drive up and go into the garage and then leave shortly thereafter. So, you put 2 and 2 together, and it was bootleg. What else are you going to be doing in there for, probably less than a minute? So that had to be interesting, just seeing all that going on. I told my daughters, they're like, yoo-hoo, that would have been cool. We could have been getting some, what do they call it? Moonshine, some hooch, or whatever it's called. But just kind of interesting what goes on in the neighborhood. And then they had a picture of the football team, and they had the leather helmets. And then one of the pictures had some neighborhood kids building a snowman, and I could see one of the boys had on his leather football helmet to keep him warm while I was out, you know, building the snowman. And there was one kid that actually built a roller coaster in their big backyard, and he and his brother had a subscription to Popular Mechanics. So heaven only knows, you know, what he became. I mean, a kid devising actually a roller coaster that actually worked. Just amazing. And there was a picture of Beverly when she was probably about 2 or 3, having her Christmas presents on the, you know, by the front porch, and she got a bike, and she had a doll cradle and a lot of toys. And for that time, due to the Depression, you know, it's just amazing that she had such a good Christmas. I'm trying to think of what the other stories were. Oh, there was an Iceman. There was a Mr. King ended up buying an ice company and renamed it. I think it was a Southern California ice company, and he named it the King Ice. And so that they would post out in the front on a piece of cardboard how many, I guess, pounds they wanted of ice, because they didn't have electric refrigerators. So I actually do have a antique ice box that's in my storage unit, but they would put what they wanted. He'd drive up and then come in the back door, which I'm sure they didn't lock. You know, growing up in Texas, we never locked our doors. He'd, you know, come in and say, "Iceman," come in and put the ice in the ice box. And, you know, that's how they got the name, because there really were blocks of ice. And then she said that her mom would make the Iceman, you know, cookies and treats to take with them. And the ice company was just on the main street, just not even far from here. And there was an ice cream store, so it was a good day. They could go pick up blocks of ice, and they would put it on the bumper of the front bumper of the car, and to get it back home quickly because it would melt. And sometimes they got to stop and buy a pint of ice cream. And Beverly said they, like, I don't think it'd take me very long to finish a pint of ice cream, but that they had to finish whatever they bought because it wouldn't keep in the ice box. So her mom would say, "W.E., come finish what's in the cart." And anyway, it just, little stories like that just made the house come alive for me. My daughter Jennifer pulled up the deeds on the house. W.E., I think, passed in 61, and I believe Ruby was in the house till 88, and then it passed on to her children. So both, it appears both the original owners were able to live their whole life here, which is pretty remarkable. I don't know, it just, you know, it almost makes, you can almost just imagine what was, you know, them in the kitchen, or I don't know. It just makes the house kind of come alive. I know I'm crazy, but I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if I will save this for Thursday, because I am having a haircut day, and I'll try to do a video. But I did follow through and foster a pug, and Kingsley, and he's larger than Hazel. One quick story, and then I'll probably end it here and then save some of the rest of the story for Thursday. Because I have the pugs out there, because when I was playing the ukulele, his name is not going to be Kingsley. I've been calling him Mr. I cannot come up with the usually a name will pop up in my head for the pug. Yes, I did adopt him. His adoption day, his gotcha day was Valentine's Day, so he was my Valentine. And I initially was, going to put him, release him, make him available for adoption, but he was so bonded to me. He follows me around. And Hazel, I've seen just a total metamorphosis of her. I mean, she was very sedate, it's not like I'm rambling through the house. And, I'd see these videos of pugs running through houses, and I thought, I've never had a pug that would do that. And they play all the time. He's much younger than Hazel. Hazel's probably about 7, 8, maybe. He's somewhere between a year and a half. I think he's maybe 2 in June. And I just kept on telling my daughter, he's so puppy-like. He's got big old feet. So, I took him to my vet this week, and they said he has such a cute demeanor, and he's got the funniest, he looks like he has on a superhero mask. And like Oscar the Grouch, he kind of looks like, or Prince with eyeliner around his eyes. But I just can't come up. The name is just not coming to me. And so I've been calling him Mr. Mister. And I was leaning towards Astor, because of the house. And it's kind of a take on the Thin Man, Nora, and her husband's dog on the old black and white mystery movie, that they had a little wire-haired terrier named Asta. And so I thought, Mr. Asta, with kind of a southern twang to it. Jennifer wasn't too hip on that one. Ultimately, give me your ideas. I will post a picture of Mr. Mista. I tell you, he is a bud hog. He wants to be right next to me. He is incredibly, he's so funny. But, because I've never had pugs that really play. They actually play tug of war with toys. I do kind of sit between them when they're eating, because I don't want any food fights. But, I asked my vet, they are always kind of mouthing, growling, playing. And I said, is that okay? And she's like, yeah, that's how they play. And where I was, some of my other, like when I had Maudie, she hated Lucy. And, that was just a precursor to them having a real fight. So, anyway, the other day I was you can run a lap between the living room, through the bedroom, through the little hallway, through the dining room, and they were just zippity, zippity, zip. And I'm like, oh my God, they're running through the house and sliding on the wood floor. And then they were doing it around the dining room table on the Oriental rug. And of course, Mr. Mister is faster than Hazel, the Twinkie. She looks like a big Twinkie. That was either Robin or Jen or Tracy that called her a Twinkie. She kind of looks like a tater tot. But so they're running, and Hazel was so smart. She cut through underneath the table and surprised him. And I wish I'd been on that side of the table to see his face, because I could just see he was like, oh my God, where did she come from? But I thought, you little smart thing, little Hazel. Anyway, so that's been an adjustment, trying to, I really thought Hazel would go into depression if he left, and I probably would have. And she's just so much happier. And, I read, pugs are meant to be together. They're companion dogs. and they cuddle up. They, like I said, they play tug of war. Oh, they're ringing the potty bells all the time. He learned really quick, and the contacts at DFW Pug Rescue couldn't believe that he had already picked that up. But the problem is little Hazel likes to go sunbathe, and so she'll just ring a ding a ding the bells all day to go outside, and you really can't leave them unattended. And the other day there is I think it's a pit bull on the other side of the fence, and they let him out, and the pit bull is actually, it's a white pit bull, is actually deaf. And maybe mute. I think it's mute also. So my dogs are the ones barking. Hazel was running back. I had to bring her in before she had a heat stroke. But, you know, I have a soft harness on her, and she's already lost weight. So Dr. Aaron, her vet, is so happy that Hazel's got a friend and they're playing, and it's probably going to extend Hazel's life because she is moving. And I told the vet that if Hazel is not thinner the next visit, then she's got a thyroid problem, because she is so active, and more so than me taking on her walk twice a day. She is just, they are running and playing all the time. I've got some other major topics, but I am losing my voice. But the one, I'll end with this. Isabella is just a hoot, my granddaughter. And she turned 2 in October. And she started saying Birdie when Robin and I went to the Christmas parade in Fort Worth. Buddy. But she is so funny. She sounds like a Southern belle. Hi, Buddy. It is like, Buddy. Hi, Buddy. And it cracks me up. And she is just so bright. Robin, she was doing something funny in the bathtub, and she was calling for Carlos. And she had put her hand over her mouth, babe, babe, you know, so she wasn't screaming in Isabella's ear. So after that, Isabella started calling for her dad, babe, babe. She is hilarious. And she was saying, I haven't been around. She had COVID, and she's been sick this week too. But around Christmas, she would, instead of say, can you help me? She would say, help you, help you. Because, you know, Robin and everyone would say, can I help you with that? So she would say, help you. Anyway, I'm encouraging Robin to write down all these things, because, you know, life happens and you forget, and they're just too cute and special to not remember or get on videotape. And I've got to get her on tape saying, hi, buddy, because it is hilarious. And she does. We just have the greatest time, and we chase and we play. And yeah, I'm going to be the Annie Mae grandma, Birdie the grandma. Anyway, enough for me, my exciting life here. But just want to say I'm alive and well, and I need to feed the dogs. I need to eat something, eat spaghetti, and I'll try to do a follow-up video on Thursday. So I'm going to use my little tricky thing, if I can see it, not spill the wine, to turn off the video. And I can say, if I put this down, and thank you if you've made it this far and you're still with me. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. You know, I like hanging out with people with their just chatty videos, putting on their makeup, getting ready for date night or whatever. So hopefully somebody out there in this universe will enjoy this. So until next time, peace out.